Now let's move to substance. On Israel, you moved the embassy to Jerusalem, you backed the annexation of the Golan Heights, you shepherded the Abraham Accords. Given your experience with Israel, how do you assess Joe Biden's support of Israel? He did go in the immediate aftermath of the massacre, but it's been awfully wobbly in my view since then. What do you think?
So since then, he's gotten weaker and weaker and weaker. But where he's really let him down is what happened during 3 years. When I was president, Iran was broke. Anybody that did business with Iran couldn't do business with the United States. And they were totally broke. They had no money. They had no nothing. And they would have made a deal if the election weren't rigged, which you and I disagree with, which is fine. But they would have made a deal. I would have had a deal with them in 1 week to 2 weeks after the election. They were absolutely broke. I did such a job. No money for Hamas, no money for Hezbollah, no money for anybody. In fact, you once did a story on the fact that there's very little money going out to these terror groups. Under Biden, he took away all the sanctions. Anybody under me, anybody that did any business whatsoever, including especially the buying of oil. And I told President Xi and I told everybody, anybody buys oil, India, France, anybody buys oil, we don't do business with them. They were down to just selling literally drops of oil, and they were bust. They had almost no money. They were in big trouble. And then Biden came in, and he made them rich. He took all the sanctions off. Now they have $250 billion. They have more money than most countries, and they're loaded up with cash. On top of, and this is peanuts, you know, everybody talks about the trade that we made for hostages a few weeks ago, where they got $6 billion for that. And then they got another $10 billion because they sold some electricity to Iraq, which we gave them, $10 billion. Think of that, $10 billion. So, but I'm not even talking about that. The big one is they have $250 billion in cash. Biden gave it to them over a 3-year period by taking away my sanctions. And now you can't talk to them because they're rich as hell, and they won't talk to.
And they're funding their terrorist proxies. The Iranian proxies have attacked American troops. They've attacked American troops dozens of times in the last 10 weeks since Israel was invaded by Hamas. What would you have done if American troops had been attacked this way?
I would hit them so hard. I don't want to say where. I know exactly where. But I would, you know, it's very tough to say exactly what I'm going to do on your radio show and announce it to the world. It's so crazy when I guess they call that democracy, but it's a very crazy thing. But I would hit them so hard. They know where. They would have never done it with me, and they would have never done it because they were poor. But they now really never would have done. You know, it's very interesting. I saw a Democrat congressman being interviewed a week ago, 2 weeks ago, on one of the crazy shows, maybe To Face the Nation. And I was watching this thing, and he said, well, one thing I will say, Iran was broke during the Trump administration, and it's exactly the word to use. They were broke. Now their riches can be, and that's all because of Biden. So words don't mean anything. Now, even the words, however, he sounded very good the first day, and then the second day was okay. Now he's not on Israel's side at all.